Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the channel for another live stream. And can you hear me? It says I'm live. Can you hear me now? All righty, right on. Junker ZN, aloha. Got a hot day going on today. I tried to do it out there in the jungle somewhere, but it was a little too sunny for my skin, so I had to crawl back under some shade. Hey, aloha to Peter in Denmark. That's way on the other side of the world. Junker, that you're JR, aren't you? Right? As I recall. Sometimes when I see different names, I get people confused, but no? Okay. I was wrong. How is everybody this Friday? It's kind of washed out in the background. I was hoping to catch my solar panels in the background to keep us kind of on topic. Okay, yeah, okay, Matt. Yeah, I know I've seen the name around quite a bit. David in the UK. Aloha, buddy. Must be what? Early morning there, really early morning if I got my hours right. Aloha, Shannon, out there in Florida. Very good. How's things out in Florida today? Let's see. Peter, I just haven't tried an all-in-one inverter. I would definitely like to, um, but I've never purchased one, so that's the only reason I just haven't gone there yet. I just keep kind of building systems that I know how to do over and over again. Okay, just half past midnight. So yeah, what are we? About 13-hour difference. Hey, off-grid living. Hello from Oregon. All right. Yeah, I was enjoying all of your comments from that video I made last night about the living off grid, things to consider, and especially if you're way off the beaten path. I'm not as far off the beaten path here as I used to be years ago, but still some of those things are worth considering. 133 in Denmark. Wow. A night owl. So do you do solar up there in Denmark? Seems like that would be pretty far north for solar panels, but I don't know. So it's what we call they call Fridays out here Aloha Friday, and it's a good time for people to get together and sit in the shade, eat good food, talk story or visit. Uh, Talking story is just what they say out here in Hawaii, but it's basically just a good afternoon or evening to sit around and relax with family and friends, eat good food, and just have a good time. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah. So up there in Oregon, uh, how's the solar working this time of year? Sun's dipping down pretty low, huh? Yeah, I've watched a lot of reviews on those all-in-one inverters. I was all set to start one. I thought about doing that when I hooked up a 48 volt system, but I just went with what I knew how to do, and I just didn't. Uh, you know, I think at some point that's what I'm going to get is an all-in-one inverter. I'm going to continue to keep kind of adjusting my systems out here, but right now we're doing good. 100% in Oregon today. You can't complain about that. That's great. Yeah, 62 in, Bay Area. Nice, Junker. Yeah, that's pretty nice weather. Yeah, I just have some relatives that were just, in that Bay Area just the other day. Yeah, all my today is a really sunny day, as you can kinda see in the background. It's very washed out right now. The sun is up high, and it's, about 80 to 82 degrees right now, a little on the warm side for here, and, the previous few days haven't been the greatest solar catching, but all my systems are doing just fine. Wow, that's really great for, Peter, for up that far north. That's great. Yeah, I always wondered about people way up there, what you did, if you did do some solar. I haven't really had a lot of correspondence with people up there, but yeah, David, we do get pretty good sun here, and then we get some dark, dark days as well. But even with all my panels, all of my arrays that I'm using, I have in series, and I can make the most out of those lower light days and do pretty good. Snow already, yeah, I remember those days. I'm glad I'm not dealing with that anymore. I used to, you know, I had a tracking array up in the mountains of Colorado. It was a manual tracker, not an automatic tracker, which some people use, but I got so much strong wind that it would blow the automatic uh, tracker off course. And so I just had a manual tracker, and a few times during the day I'd get out there, loosen it, and turn the entire array to follow the sun because this time of the year in Colorado it skirts the horizon pretty low, and you'd have to point it way to the east in the morning and then just track it all the way to the west to make use of getting the best sun. Hey, greeting Watts and Watts out in Southern California. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate the feedback. Yeah, I can elaborate on some stories, that's for sure. Blah blah blah. But all in all, do pretty good out here with the sun so far. I mean, it's been. I wish I would have wrote the date down, but I have not fired up the generator one time this entire year for any needs for power at all. So I'm really really happy about that. Used to have to when I had a much smaller system many, many years ago, um, I would have to run that generator a little bit to keep my batteries, and I was running lead acid batteries, so I would have to run that occasionally to keep them from getting way, way low. And I do not miss having to do that at all. So, yeah, my generator sits idle for the past year. 3 years. Yeah, that's right, Shannon. I'm coming up on 3 years of this channel. So, Peter, the reason I ended up in Hawaii was I was originally as a kid from Southern California, and then y- as an older kid, about 10 years old, we moved to Colorado, and I spent all my time in Colorado. And then my last 15 years or so in Colorado, I was at um, 8,500 feet elevation, and I built a little cabin and lived completely off grid. nearest neighbor was like 3 miles away. Real peace and quiet, real wilderness. It was a great experience. And the last few winters in there, I started struggling a little bit. I was getting buried on a regular basis with snow. I saw snows of 6 and even one time a 7-foot snow dropped on me and kept me locked in tight up there for basically months until I could get my road dug out. And yeah, and I just, I kind of got tired of that as the years went by. Now, when I first went out there and I was a lot younger, I loved it when I would be snowed in, and I just go out and scrape the snow off the panels. Had satellite TV way back up in there, and spent a lot of time reading books and watching movies on satellite TV. But the older I got, it became a lot more work than I really wanted to continue. The weather could get really severe at that elevation, and the fact that I would just be stranded back in there for such long periods of time was um, one of the reasons that I decided to go ahead and pack it up from there and head this way. And I had been here, uh, 25 years earlier or something, and visited this island and really scoped it out a lot. And I always put it in the back of my mind that I could live on the big island of Hawaii. It was, I could just see how people were living out here, and I really appreciated it. And I thought that's where I'm going to go if I ever have to leave the mountains. So when I made the decision to leave the mountains, I knew immediately where I was going to go, and it was right here to the big island, which in a lot of ways was a real lateral transfer as far as the you know, the type of lifestyle that I was accustomed to of living in the Rockies. I all this the basic ways of living off grid out here are exactly the same, minus the digging out of snow every day just to get home. I used to have to put chains on my four-wheel drive vehicles to get in if I could get in, and a lot of times I had to hike into my cabin, leave my vehicle parked on the nearest county road, which was about a mile away because it was maintained, and then I would just break a foot trail over time through the snow. And once that was established, I could walk that mile really quick and hop in my car and go get what I needed. And then I would have to load up my supplies in like a toboggan and hike it uphill to my place. So that was quite the adventure. Right on, Dave. Knight, from Ontario. 2 years watching the channel. Appreciate all the support you guys give me. It keeps me going. Um, I get the positive comments from you, and makes me keep thinking of different things we can talk about. And if you guys have any ideas, some stuff you'd like me to cover that I haven't covered that you think I'm overlooking, or you know, just from your perspective of your part of the world and things like that, let me know. I'd be very happy to try and make some videos along the lines of what you guys would like to listen to or watch to the best of my ability. Hey, every little bit helps, huh, Junker? Every little bit helps, no matter where you are. I mean, you can run a little bit of solar, and once you start running a little bit, you get pretty excited about it and say, "Hey, we're watching our movies tonight, or we're running our refrigerator," and every little bit helps. Yeah, the I was a mile from the nearest county road, and uphill, all uphill from there quite a bit, like hundreds of feet higher than the county road. So I did a lot of hiking back in those days. Yeah, 4 years break in uh, for a do-it-yourself projects. I agree with that out here too, and everything that I've ever done. 3 to 4 years compared to what the utilities would cost if I was on the grid. Now out here in Hawaii, the grid if you're on the grid, the electricity is super expensive. The last I looked, it was the most expensive in the country, and I imagine it's still up in the, near the top. But yeah, I mean, I know a guy that is on the grid. Little ways from here, and he only just runs a very few things, and there's a minimum charge just to be on the grid, regardless of even if you have a light bulb turned on. And then everything on top of that is a little expensive. And I've tried to encourage him to, for what he does use of putting in a small solar system, and he could eliminate that bill, which he said runs him just for the basics, 200 to 300 bucks a month. So it wouldn't take him long with a $2,000 little system would probably run about everything he's got. He could be, paid off pretty quick at that rate. Chatterico, aloha to you out there in Arizona. Daily user of solar, love it, of course. And a giant battery bank, right on. I do trust you. I do. I am in the same position. Oh, Cave General. Bought some land up at Fern Forest. I've got some friends up in Fern Forest. Uh, I don't know that street, but yeah, our land looks real similar. As you know, I'm down Mountain View way, so very similar. I like the forest up there. You have, some older growth trees up there that I really do like up there, and like right now, you're probably several degrees cooler than I am here today, and that feels really nice. But yeah, I've got some good friends up there I haven't seen for a while. I need to get up there. Went up and took a peek at the lava. It's been many months ago when Kilauea was really erupting up there in the caldera, and cruised up through there again. Yeah, David Marian. When I first started solar, I started with one 50-watt panel, and they cost, and it was used. It was a used 50-watt panel, and it cost $250. But this is 30 years ago when, solar equipment was quite expensive. And I had one 12 volt, oh, I guess about a 100 amp hour lead acid battery, but it was running some lights and a little VCR, if you remember what those are, so I could watch a movie at night. And I just thought that was the greatest thing. And that was it. I was hooked for life with one 50-watt panel and one battery. And then I did nothing but just keep on growing with that. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Shannon. It's fun for me. It's really fun for me making these videos too. I mean, it really is. I have just a lot of fun uh, running around the place saying, looky here what I did today. And I still, 30 years later, I still get real excited about hooking up anything to do with solar. Uh, haven't had a utility bill in over 30 years now, and that feels pretty good. And the great thing is, solar is, I mean, it's very reasonably priced these days. I mean, yeah, 30 years ago, it was very expensive, and we didn't even think about running things like a full size refrigerator, freezer, because you would just have to build your system up so massively, especially on lead acid batteries, to run that. Now, I know people that did, but they had huge solar arrays, and solar panels were extremely expensive back then. Yeah, yeah. A VCR is like the old LP records, and I used to have a collection of LP records too. Yeah. Back in the '70s, I had a great Beta. Yeah, I went Beta too. I guessed wrong on the Beta VCR days. I first went Beta, and I no sooner went Beta, and they went, "Nope, wrong choice. We're going VCR." That's funny. I did the same thing. I remember that. I thought Beta was cool because what? It was a little smaller format, or, a little smaller thing to deal with. And I thought, well, that was really cool. And then I no sooner went Beta, and you couldn't find Beta anymore. It was all VCR. Snow in Sweden tomorrow. Yeah. Now, are you doing some solar up there too? Jadu 79? I don't even remember what makes of, the beta system I was running. Yeah, you know what? I wish I had some of the old toys from when I was a kid. I mean, I used to have, as a kid, when Hot Wheels, if you remember Hot Wheels, and I'm sure they're still around. I don't, follow it anymore. But when Hot Wheels first came out in the 60s, I got every new Hot Wheel that came out. And I had it for a while going. I had every single make and model of the little Hot Wheels cars. And boy, do I wish I had all of those now. I'd probably trade that in for some server rack system or something. Yeah, out here, Peter, I've helped a lot of people and a lot of neighbors out here with some solar systems and stuff, uh, and I do plan on following these things up, and we're always in talks to do that, and it just takes a little bit of time, to get all of those things coordinated and people's schedules and people being around and sometimes they've changed their system before I can even get back there to help them with it. So I know a lot of people out here with a lot of different types of systems, and the ones that have asked for help, we have tried to help. And then a lot of the things that we do never make it to film either. A lot of people are very, very private, um, and don't want, to be out there on YouTube. So there's all of those type of things that I'm have to deal with. So sometimes when all intentions are is to do a great follow up, and I say that that's what we're going to do. Some of that is still happening, and some of that is still in the works, but it takes a little bit more time sometimes to get that all resolved and keep people's privacy, which I understand. Not everybody, and in fact, I mean, people that have known me for 30 years know that this is a huge step for me to be out there on YouTube. I used to be the biggest hermit anybody ever knew. I mean, you wouldn't see me for years, and you could be living on the lot next door to me. Yeah, exactly, Junker. I mean, the people out here are very, and I found that in all my off-grid experience, people very, very private and and you know, and especially if they're not familiar with social media and things like that. So I always have to respect that. I've even shot some videos of people's places and then showed them that, and they're like, "Yeah, no, I don't want that out there in the world." So, well, hello, Eves L from Saint Columban, Quebec. Thank you. Yeah, right. And now people in Denmark can see me, and it's like, yeah, I'm exposed now. Oh yeah, yeah. I hear you. Have to tell the guy why you killed his lead acid battery bank. Yeah, I've killed a couple of those myself. Mahalo for that, Chato Rico. I appreciate that. I really enjoy connecting with all of you too. And one of the things that I have found, it has alleviated a lot of my fears about coming out of my hermitage. Uh, it kind of attracts like-minded people, and that's good. I mean, there's very, very little negative to doing this at all. Most of the people I really connect with, and you guys are all very supportive and keep pointing me in the right direction of things that we need to be talking about. And I love how no matter where in the world, I mean, look at this, just right here. this afternoon. I'm sitting in Hawaii. We're talking to people on the other side of the world and all over the mainland. And, what a great conversation. So this is like a true Aloha Friday, sitting around talking story. Right on, Peter. Yeah. Once you start playing with solar, you're never going to be 100% satisfied. I don't believe. I think you're always going to want a little bit more and think, oh, now that I'm running half the house, how about a little more than half the house? Aloha, John, up there in Illinois. Yeah, David. It was a big thing. I mean, if you go back to when I first started this channel, when I bought my first lithium iron phosphate battery, I said, you know what? And I didn't know anything about them. I mean, I researched them to the point to know that they were way better than lead acid, and my lead acid bank was dying. So when I bought my very first one, I decided I'm going to make a YouTube channel. And, for I don't know, the first year, I never showed my face. All you saw was my hands going, look at this, look at that. Here's this battery, because I wanted to learn more. And all of you guys were great. You chimed in, you told me where I was making mistakes and how to improve my system, and then I just shared that along the way, and it's been a great sharing community, really has been. So that's how it started, and then I took the big step of putting my face out there, which was caused me a little anxiety in the beginning, but now I'm over it. The chins, yeah, they were the chins. I bought one, fell in love with it, and then I bought the second one, and I've just been off and running since. And those chins are coming up on 3 years of 24/7 usage, and they just rock, as do every one of the lithium batteries I run out here. I mean, they all just rock. I'm very, very happy about that. Yeah, Shannon, I'll do some more of that. I get a lot of feedback. A lot of people want to see a little bit more of the surroundings out here, and even maybe a little more touring around the island and things like that. Things that we do out here for fun, and I'll start implementing some more of that, because I know not everybody, it's all about solar and batteries and stuff. So I'm going to try and integrate a lot more of that as time goes by. So thanks for that suggestion, Shannon. Appreciate it. Yeah, Junker, I think that these systems are going to outlive me, which I'm always saying that every time I tie one up. I go, this battery is going to live longer than me, so I don't even need another one. But then I put another one in. uh, Off-grid living. I I really wished I would have. I had talked with some friends and neighbors out here, and I kept telling them, we should really do a YouTube channel. And I kept trying to get everybody involved, and I just wanted to be the cameraman. I know some great personalities out here, and I just wanted to say, years ago, I mean, many years ago, I was like, we should all, get together and collaborate and make a YouTube channel and just, show how we live off grid. I thought it would be popular, and then I just finally, like I said, when I got my first battery, I decided, heck with it. I'm going to just do it myself. Everyone else is like, no, no, I'm never going on camera. There's no way, the big scary internet out there. And so I've got some new batteries. I got a couple sitting around here that we're going to do some reviews on, and uh, I'm looking forward to doing a couple of, especially the two that I've got yet to do. Um, And the thing I'm most excited about with these lithium iron phosphate batteries right now is how the price is just, I mean, the price is just dropping constantly. Every time I look at them, every time I get a new battery sent to me, the price keeps going down, down, down. I mean, when I first started researching these batteries about 3 years ago, I mean, they were $1,000 for a 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery, and they're starting to dip below $200 now. So, that's one of the things that I really like seeing is that the price keeps coming down so it can be more accessible for people. Soggy B, that 24-volt Phoenix inverter is working absolutely perfectly. That thing's sitting in float right now. And I'm kind of using that as a backup right now. It's basically been sitting there full day in and day out. I try to use it. In fact, after I'm done with this stream this afternoon, I'm going to pump a little water out of my catchment system through the reverse osmosis system and make some, you know, some fresh drinking water and for cooking and things like that. So I'm going to use it, but that's not going to hardly even touch it. But that the two Victron uh, inverters that I'm using, they're fantastic. They really are. They're very nice, and their price is not really crazy expensive. I mean, their charge controllers are a little more spendy, but their inverters are really not that bad in price. Yeah, Peter, I've thought about that quite a bit. I thought about getting a drone. That would be another learning curve for me to learn how to fly one of those. But if I could show you, I mean, there's an old telephone pole on this property from running a landline phone up and that they did have landline phones. They never worked very good out here, but whoever had this property back way back when, like in the 70s, they did set a old telephone pole, and from the top of that telephone pole, there's an ocean view from here. I'm about 8 miles from the ocean as the crow flies. I cannot see it from here, but if you just get just above the tree line, so if I ran a drone up there, I mean, I could show the ocean in at least about a 180 degrees of ocean view. Um, So I have thought about that. I have actually thought about doing that because that would make some cool shots. Yeah, I've heard of a few other people. I mean, quite a few other people bought those chins after I started talking about chins. I've heard about that quite a bit. Um, and they work great. And the Victron Blue charger, that's right. And an LG refrigerator. That's right. That LG refrigerator, I'm telling you, that was like the best purchase ever. That thing just sips on power. And it's a 20 cubic foot refrigerator freezer with a big freezer. I mean, that thing stocked up is a lot of food. And every time I look at it when it's on its on cycle, it's drawing like 50, 60 watts. It's no big deal. Yeah, Junker, I tried using that eco mode. I have a little problem with I mean, I wouldn't say problem, but some of the loads that I would hope for it to turn on when it's in the eco mode, it won't turn on. So I basically just leave it off. Now, on the one that I've got in the bedroom, running the TV and stuff like that, that one. I do leave on the eco mode all the time. No, no, no. I leave it on all the time. I'm sorry. I don't leave it on the eco mode. I just leave it on all the time because it doesn't really draw that much power at all, and it always gets to 100% full. But when I've tried to leave it on just the eco mode, when I would go to like turn the TV on, it would not was not enough power to kick it on. But those Phoenixes are great inverters. Great inverters. Trying to remember everybody's name. A lot of you guys I know because I've seen you, around on the channel for a long time. Autel makes a great small affordable drone. I have their older, larger one and never crashed it. That's what I worry about out here. I mean, I'm surrounded by tall trees around here. Just, you know, they're all very, very tall. And I mean, I would have to step out here into the yard and go straight up and then around, and then I have to drop it straight down because, you know, I mean, it's thick out there. I'm not sure if I can. Yeah, there's so much, at least on my picture, there's so much uh, washout from the sun back there, but try and show you guys. Try and show you. Maybe I could walk out there a little bit and show you that. I think I could. Let me, let me try that, and I'll just show you what I'm talking about because that's one thing I really don't know about with the drones. I mean, I've researched them a little bit, and I'll show you here. Hopefully, it's not too bright, but I mean, these trees, they're very, very tall. Now, out here, I've got that area cleared out as part of the driveway in and out. But the rest of this area, lots and lots of very tall trees. So I'd have to get that drone straight up out of here. And if it would just come back to me, like I've read that they do, come right back to you, then I'd be okay. But yeah, I've worried about sending one up and never seeing it again. Aloha, Stephen. Welcome to the channel. And the Aloha Friday version where we're just sitting around talking story. Anything you want to talk about is good. Okay. See, that's what I understood it to be, David. It was like you set it to return to home at 300 feet, it won't hit the trees. Now that's what I need. That I was always worried once I got it out there, if I made a wrong move or something like that, then I mean, I'm never going to find it again out here. And Peter says the DJI drones almost fly themselves. I saw someone down by the water the other day flying one of those DJI drones, and it was pretty cool. And in fact, some of those guys were down there drone fishing, which, they were hooking their line, sending it way out into the ocean and dropping it down to where they wanted it to be catching the big fish. And that would make me nervous too, sending an expensive drone out over the ocean. Hey, IMG, aloha. Yay, the chickens are doing great. Just went out there and fed them just before I started the stream. And yeah, they're rowdy teenagers now. Those little babies that I was showing you, they're getting pretty feisty. They'll jump right up here on the lanai and almost demand food. So they're doing good. They're a ways off from being able to lay eggs. They're not old enough, but they're going to, and they call this place home now. So they are cocky little things, though. Oh, boy, Watts in, Watts out. When I was a kid, we had the old Estes rockets. Yeah, those were fun. Boy, that goes back. That goes back many, many years. Trailer Park Mike, aloha. Out there in Wickenburg, enjoying this time of year, I'm sure. Yeah, IMG, they're doing they're doing pretty good. They're gonna stick around. This batch is gonna stick around, and then I do have some neighbors that are raising quite a lot of chickens, and these that I've got being part of the household now, they're feral chickens, and they took some training, but now they're basically domesticated. But I am going to bring in some domestic chickens too to get the egg production up here because there's no reason not to be producing eggs out here. They're like $9 a dozen at the store or something like that. Crazy. Yeah. So Peter, yeah, my viewership has gone up in the past year. Does it help me a bit to earn from my YouTube earnings? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, not enough to quit your day job, but I mean, as the viewership goes up, um, yeah, all of that changes as well. Um, you know, the thing that YouTube pays you for is the commercial time. So, but I put it, you can change that. Like I put on there when I set my settings on YouTube that you can skip the ads because most people don't really want to sit there and watch mandatory commercials. So, but that's what they do. So, I let people skip. I make it to where you can skip the ads and not have to be bogged down with that. So, it throws a few bucks your way, but like I said, if you were uh, thinking of quitting your job to do it, I would, think again. Hey, that's like what? Only 88 degrees. You probably darn near need a sweater, don't you, Mike? Okay, so how many followers do you need before various companies start sending you batteries for free? Uh, when I first started doing reviews on battery, it did not take long before I got a first offer for some. I mean, I did not have a big channel. I still don't have a big channel. I consider myself a very small channel with just a nice tight group of people. They're checking in, but um, Chins was the first one. After I bought two Chins batteries, those two 300 amp hours, and they got pretty good reviews. And I was putting the links in there to them. I was not affiliated with them. I was not making any money from Chins whatsoever, but I was selling a lot of their batteries for them. So then they reached out and wanted to send me uh, that 100 amp hour smart lithium iron phosphate battery. So that was the first one, but I've sold probably hundreds of Chins batteries for Chins and never got a dime. So, that's just how it goes too. Well, I never thought about that, Cliff. I'm having to back up. The chat was moving a little fast there, but I just saw you came in. Aloha, Cliff. Have someone come by with a drone and film your place and save a buck. Yeah, now I like that idea quite a bit because um, someone that knows what they're doing. In fact, I just met a guy too. I just met a guy the other day on one of those videos I showed you down there. Uh, that video that had that home grid system, that thing was totally cool. He was talking about drones. So I might get with him because someone that's got a drone, yeah, I'll just bring him out here and shoot the shot and slip it into one of my videos. That would be the way. Then I don't have to worry if that drone never comes home as long as we get the footage. Okay, so Stephen, the internet never truly really existed out here until I don't remember how many years ago. I want to say about 5 years ago, and it was under that what I think they called it the broadband rural broadband initiative, where there was some government money appropriated to put fiber optic through rural communities to get them more plugged into the world. And this was one of the areas I couldn't believe it. One day I was driving home down one of these, lava roads, very isolated. And I saw this company with, they were installing the fiber. And I asked them, I said, I pulled right over. I said, "What are you guys putting in here?" And they said, "Fiber optic internet." And I was like, "Are you putting it in all up here?" And they said, we're running up and down every single road out here, putting it in." And I said, "How do I get it?" And they said, "You got to call right now and get on it. And it'll be about a 6 month uh, delay, from the time you put your order in. It'll be 6 months before we get up to you, but we're running all of these rural areas with fiber optic." Now, the company that was doing it wasn't, they were using government money to run it out here. There was some money appropriated to get internet into the most rural areas. So I jumped right on that immediately. I mean, as soon as I got home, seeing those guys and talking to them on the side of the road, I'm like, "Sign me up." And about 4 months later, they came out and hooked me up. So I'm sitting here with some of the fastest internet around on that fiber optic. It's fantastic. And I could not do what I'm doing here without it. There's just no way. I mean, I could, a lot of people have used satellite, of course, out here, and you could do that, but it was very spendy. Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying there, Mike, and I don't take that as political either. And I've always, just in everyday life, for ever since I moved off grid, I've tried to be as prepared as I can for anything. I mean, I remember way back in 2000 when they were saying Y2K is gonna, shut everything down, and uh, I didn't know. I didn't even have a computer back then, and they said that none of the computers would work or anything. But went out and stocked up, and 50 pounds of oatmeal and 50 pounds of cornmeal that I never ate. But I was prepared for to not have to go anywhere if I need not go anywhere. Um, but you know, as remote of a place as that I've lived in the past 30 years, being stocked up with everything is just kind of a natural way to be. I mean, you don't want to be running in and out of here every day. It's not economical. You don't want to drive these roads every day. Um, it's rough on you. So it's better to, like, when you make your supply run, and like I said in that video I put out last night, was, when I would make supply runs up in the mountains, we would just make big supply runs every few months and load the truck up and come back and know that we were set for months. And and that was a part of a necessity because we could get buried with snow for months, and there was no going out and doing any major shopping. So, and David says Starlink is getting me for 120 a month, I think it says. I can see a 1 and a 2, but there's something else blocking the next letter, and I can't tell. I looked into Starlink too. I did look into Starlink, but I used to run off of Verizon a little modem, and it was kind of expensive. You had to buy every gigabyte you wanted. It would not have been, a great package for, running a YouTube channel at all. It would not. It would have been too expensive. And and I know that I did look at Starlink just the other day out of curiosity to see if it was available out here, and it says it is available out here. I don't know anyone that's using it, but not with the trees. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I'd have to probably have it pretty high up, wouldn't I? Yeah, that's the thing with those trees. Yeah, even with the solar panels, I mean, I have to over panel a bit because of the trees here, and I'm not going to go around and start knocking down a bunch of trees out here. I'll just add different panels, or panels are not that expensive now. $49 a month for T-Mobile out there in Arizona, 42 downline. Yeah, I'm really lucky, like, I'm just really lucky that I was just in an area that they decided to open up to the internet, because it was a rural under that rural initiative. Yeah, Peter, I'm 63 years old. Yeah. As hard as that is for me to believe. In my mind, I'm much younger. Oh, yeah, I didn't know that, Junker. I didn't know that, Starlink burned that much power. Wow, that's something to consider. I had no idea. Yeah, whereas my internet, I mean, it doesn't I mean, you don't even get it to register. I mean, it just that fiber optic, the Wi-Fi modem that I'm running off of right now, I've never even put a watt meter on it, but I'm telling you, it's probably under 10 watts. I mean, it just doesn't even touch the solar system whatsoever. Yeah, hey, David, I've been accused of dyeing my hair, which I would never do in a million years. But just even the other day, someone said I was looking a little dark up here. But I'm a redhead, uh, believe it or not. And if I was out in the sun, my hair is red. And I avoid the sun like the plague. I mean, I was trying to sit out there earlier and thought about doing this live stream out there, but I cannot tolerate the sun. My skin is fried from the sun from too many years of abuse out there. But yeah, I never went. I mean, my face went gray a little bit, but my head stayed dark. And even some of my good friends have accused me of dyeing my hair, much to my chagrin. Yeah, you got that right, Mike. 57 seems like high school is just, yeah, I mean, the past 10 years seems like 10 minutes for me. I mean, I just can't believe how fast time goes. And I remember people when I was in my 30s and they were in their 60s saying, "Oh, the time's just going so fast." And I mean, I didn't have that kind of understanding back then. I get it now. Yeah, that's what I think, Junker. I mean, maybe 10 watts, maybe 10 watts is because I mean, I've never, like I said, I never put a meter on it, but it just doesn't do anything. It's on 24/7. And that's good to hear, Peter. Yeah, and it's true. With age does come wisdom, hopefully, Yeah, like they say, what? I wish that I knew then what I know now. Yeah, the fiber is not touching my system. All right then, Randy. How young are you? Yeah, it's just a state of mind in so many ways, I think. Although I was out working on that, I'm going to show you guys at another time. I'll show you. I wanted to do this live stream out on that little shop studio that I'm constructing right now, and I'm just about ready to lay the floor down. And I started to set up, and I actually did set up to do the live stream out there, and it was just too hot under the canopy. But I want to show you guys that at a different time because that's where it's going to all start happening here pretty quick. And I'll do all my live streams and a lot of my videos and reviews out there. I'm going to kind of make a little work studio. 65, 66 in November. Well, heck, same. There's no difference really. Once we get up to that age, a year or two difference. We're in our 60s. We made it. Hey, don't give up the toys, Cliff. I'm never giving up the toys. I love playing with toys. Are you kidding? I mean, everything I'm doing out here is playtime. Don't give that up. That keeps us young at heart. Class of '84 Costa Mesa. Yeah, so let's see. Those are kind of my old stomping grounds from when I was younger. Garden Grove area, Anaheim, Garden Grove. Surfed all the beaches from Newport to Huntington. Newport used to be our favorite. Yeah, yeah. Bolsa and Beach Boulevard. I know exactly where that is. Yeah, I was at uh, West and Lamson, just about a mile and a half south of Disneyland. Used to, as kids, just walk out on the street, and every night Disneyland shot their fireworks, and we could look out there and watch the fireworks. They used to just do them like that in the summertime. It wasn't an every night deal like I think they do now, but in the summertime, we'd even get up on the roof to watch the fireworks at Disneyland. And then it was bedtime. Yeah, that neighborhood's changed a lot. I saw the house that I grew up in there in Garden Grove cost my family at about 1960 when they bought it, right about $10,000. I saw that it just flipped last year for about the same exact house. I mean, it's been, of course, a little remodeled and everything, but basically exactly the same. I looked at it inside and out online, like $750,000. So a $10,000 house in 1960 selling for $750,000 last year. No, it's not night here, Nutty. Um, it's it's about 2:30 in the afternoon here, and getting a little cloud coverage. The sun is out over that way right now. The panels, if they would show up in the background, maybe they'll start to show up a little bit. Yeah, they're starting to show up. It's still pretty bright out there, but you can kind of see the panels right there. Yeah, you can see I got to get out there and trim some of that jungle away from them. But they're still in full sun there. So the furthest ones in the back are tied into that chin system, and it needs the most charging yet. Everything else is fully charged, but the chins was running a little, about 50% earlier when I looked. So hopefully it's up to about 75 by now. Oh yeah, Cal Worthington and his dog Spot. That was who grew up with those commercials. Yeah, I went to just briefly. I went to what was it, Santiago High out there. I forget which suburb that was in now. But then I went back to Colorado. Yeah, so Peter, land out here, it depends where you live and how much land you buy. So in general, the rule is out here, the closer you are and the closer you want to be to the ocean, the more it's going to cost you. And then also the closer you are to town and amenities, the more it's going to cost you. So, uh, like here, I'm about an hour's drive from, most amenities. There are some a little bit closer, but for your best shopping value, it's about an hour's drive. And out here, land has been going up, and then I just read something the other night that said it was kind of slowing down again a little bit. It kind of goes up and down, but and so I'm sitting on 3 acres here, Cliff, and uh, right now 3 acres out in this area has been, I would say, averaging in the past year, since it's been kind of spiking again, near 50 grand for 3 acres. Now, if you go further away from town than this, and to a area that is not as lush as this, like if you want to just go live out on the old lava fields, I mean, you can pick up an acre of land out in those areas, um, for 5 grand or less, probably. But it's dry, it's hot, um, a lot more exposure. But now you can also pick up, so out here, like in this subdivision, the minimum is 3 acres. The smallest you can buy out here is 3 acres. But if you just go down the hill few miles from here, you can pick up like a regular city size lot in this kind of environment, a jungle and everything, which they're not bad, pretty nice. And what did I see those for? They were, um, I mean, you can pick those up for, just a few $1,000s. You can pick up a nice city size lot or even an acre down there in some of those subdivisions. You could probably pick up an acre for maybe 5 grand. I haven't looked at some of that in a while, but yeah, that goes back, huh, Mike? It shows the good times in Southern California, which I did have good times there. I was surfing every day, working hard on my skin cancer at an early age and didn't know it. Well, guys, I want to thank you all for tuning in on this Aloha Friday. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Just a great bunch of guys you all are. Just love you all. The county codes out here, David. Out here, there are some. They uh, Mahalo, reflect the sun. Love that name, reflect the sun. Beautiful. Appreciate that. Um, okay, where was I? How about the county codes for off grid? Um, okay, let me start by saying, like when I went to the off grid living in Colorado first, I went to that particular area that I went because it was one of the last places where you didn't need codes. It was, there was no building codes whatsoever, which I wanted that. I wanted that freedom to build whatever I wanted to build and call it home and not have the government tell me that that could not be a home. So I specifically chose that area and I knew people that were living in that area and I respected that so much. I mean, I saw guys that were master carpenters building beautiful places, but that's not me. But I still wanted to do my own thing. So I went to that area. And then over the years that I was there, it changed and codes started coming. And I got nicked on a few of those over time. And ended up being, I actually got fined a couple of times because I didn't, pull a permit for this or that. And I didn't think they'd ever find me. But eventually, they did. And, I had to pay a fine here and there. And then this place is the same thing. This place is, this area is so rural out here and so remote that there are people out here living in tents, literally. They own their property and they decide to pitch a tent, and that's how they decide to live out here. And I've seen some pretty crazy tents out here. I mean, like nice, like you can live out here in a tent. You really can. And I support the freedom to be able to do that. If you buy a piece of land, live the way you want to. If you're not hurting anybody else, nobody else should even care the way you live. That's the way I feel. Mahalo, Trailer Park Mike. Appreciate the support, brother. That's crazy. That's nice. Yeah, thank you, Shannon. Appreciate your support big time. And then, so the house here, Peter, is the footprint of a 16 by, let's see, it was 16 by 20 was a kind of a shell that was here. It was all that was here. And then I built everything around it. I added on both sides of it and dressed it up. It was just basically a 16 by 24 or 20, I think, 16 by 20 square shell, no windows, no anything, just open. And and I got a good price on it. I came out here, it had potential. I saw it. It had real good potential, and I just took it from there. Cliff, my name is Bob. Yeah. Hey, Bosco Dog. Aloha. Aloha Friday. We're just in here talking story, having a good time. Glad you showed up. A lot of your guys' names I really recognize. Cliff for a long time. Timothy Wilson, long time. Aloha Friday, my brother. Yeah. I recognize all of your names so much. And this puts a different little twist on it. I can like answer you in real time. Nice to meet you as well, Cliff. Very nice. Yeah, so IMG, for many, many years, what they've done out here with, residential areas, especially in this rural area, was people put in cesspools, and for dealing with their wastewater, black water, if you will. Gray water, fine to run out on the ground, run it into your garden, beautiful. Your plants will love you for it. Your food will produce for you quite well. But black water, they were running into, your toilet water, running into cesspools, and that was very common out here. And they're they're trying to get people to over time here and to start putting in a more engineered septic system. I truly don't know what that really looks like out here. I do know a guy down the street that is putting in an engineered septic system, so I need to find out what that looks like here. I know what that looks like up in the Colorado mountains. I'm not sure how it differs out here. And I believe it's, for to get up to what they want everybody to be onto eventually is uh is that kind of a system. Oh, you're going to be on Oahu in 2 weeks. Nice, Tim. Vacation? Yeah, there's a lot to do over there. Yeah. Mahalo, Peter. Very generous of you guys. Way up there in the north, Peter, living on solar a little bit anyway, right? Yeah, that is awesome. You guys are awesome. I tell you, you guys on this channel, it's why I get up and want to make another video just to see what you guys say and keep pointing me in the right direction. Hey, it all helps. It all helps. Yeah. And, I'm going to put your guys' name on the wall in the shop. I'm going to just like put one wall up there and say, this wall was made by these guys here, because it will be. Mosquitoes are starting to drop in a little bit. Watts in, Watts out. Thank you very much. Mahalo. Yeah, you guys so generous. Amazing. A vacation for you, Shannon, would be uh Halo. I'm not sure. Hawaii, I wish. Oh yeah, well, you probably see Hawaii one day, right? Yeah. There's some cool places on Oahu, Mike. There are some very cool places. I had a cousin over there who died just a couple of years ago, who'd lived over there since the 70s and lived in a pretty sweet spot over there. But it's a little busy for me over there, where the Big Island is still tons and tons of rural areas, which is what I like. Much slower, much more country, just a slower pace. You get over into Honolulu, it's like any major metropolitan area, too many moving parts and pieces for me. I can't relax over there in that, but and they've got all the problems that any big city does, but over here, pretty much country still by and large. I mean, we got Kona and Hilo, the 2 biggest, towns on this island, and Kona a little bit more, uh, touristy, I'll say. Hilo a little bit more, like, quaint, you know. Do it. Do it, Timothy. Heck yeah. Hey, Peter, I'm happy, 30, nice, just a small little intimate group of people talking story. This is great. This is the most people I've ever had on the lanai, ever. In in almost 20 years, I've never had 30 people sitting on the lanai talking story on an Aloha Friday. Yeah, traffic is tough on Oahu. Mike, I've never been up to the observatory. I've started up that way a couple of times, but I never have driven all the way up to the top. I've driven past it many, many times going up and over that saddle road between here and Kona, but I never have gone up there. That's what I like, Peter. The main thing I like about living off grid this way, for me, number one is the quiet. The quiet. That's and it was the same in the Colorado mountains. It's the quiet that I like. And I've always got my animals too. Yeah, I had quite a pet cemetery up in the mountains that I assume is still there, but all the beloved creatures I surrounded myself with. I like that dog. 1,200 watts solar power on an RV, also known as poor man's RV, 7 by 7 by 14. I could live like that. Are you kidding me? I call that home. Timothy, aloha is a way of life. It's absolutely a way of life. I love the aloha spirit out here. Everywhere you go, people treat you uh, the way you would hope people would treat you. It's a very diverse population, and it all gets along very well. And it's a beautiful thing. It really is. It's a great thing. uh, Aloha is is a great way to live. I mean, I don't care out here whether you're at the grocery store, Home Depot. I mean, all the places that I, frequent. Everybody, your favorite eatery, your good friends, your neighbors. There's a mutual respect and understanding about living like this out here that permeates so deep about hey, you know, We're all brothers and sisters, right? Well, I'll keep, I'm going to do some more on the water, Mike. Uh, yeah, WCO the third there. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. I believe you're up in Kauai, as I recall. I think I'm starting to get a good idea where you all are. It doesn't cost that much to live this lifestyle, to be honest. It just does not. It doesn't cost that much. Aloha is a state of mind. That's very well put. Aloha is a state of mind. And you feel it. The first time I came to Hawaii back in the 80s, I stepped off the plane from Southern California, and I stepped off the plane, and the minute I walked off the plane, I felt it. You could just feel there was a real palpable difference in how Southern California felt to what it felt like here. And I never forgot what that felt like. And now, that's my everyday life. Kentucky, huh? All right. Kapa'a. A couple of guys from Kentucky this evening. Nice. Well, guys, I think I'm going to head on to a different part of the property here for a little while. Thanks for everybody for tuning in on this Aloha Friday. We'll do it again sometime. It's a great way to connect with all of you. And please, keep sending me your ideas, things you want me to talk about. Yeah, Mike, I plan on making a lot more about the water catchment. In fact, I have some big plans for my water catchment system. It's about to get revamped quite a bit because I really need to increase the size because we're not catching as much water as typical. But aloha kaino from Finland. Wow, we're just catching them from around the world. But I really appreciate all of you more than I can say. And have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll do this again. We'll get together and talk story. So I'm going to sign off. I got a couple of chores I need to do before it gets dark. Aloha, everybody. Thanks again. Good times. Aloha.